put this off for far too long. My friend Zeno Lilly asked me to make a video to contribute to a project she's working on, and I very much want to do this video, but I really haven't had the time or the energy lately, so we're doing this right now. What she's working on is movies that were popular in the 2000s and transformative in the lives of individuals. So I wanted to do the movie Almost Famous. So how it affected me when I was younger. It came out in 2000, so 2000 is the year that I graduated from high school. So I was about 17 at the time that that movie came out. And I did see it when it first came out. And I remember feeling like that's what I want to do. I want to do what the main character in the movie does, which, in case you aren't familiar, it's the story of a 15-year-old who somehow magically, gets hired by Rolling Stone to follow this mid-level band as they try to wrestle with stardom and figure out their place in the world, I suppose. Which is actually interesting because it's actually based on the life of the director Cameron Crowe, who also wrote a number of other films, one of my favorite of which is Singles, which is a very interesting film about music as well. So I love how he has such an understanding and a reverence for music. That's one of my favorite parts of the entire film, is understanding how important music is in everyone's life, whether or not you are a musician or a professional appreciator like myself. Music is so important to our lives. And when I was younger, I remember thinking, like, I want to do what he does, get to follow a band. But unfortunately, I was always too afraid to do everything that it would require for you to be able to do that. But I wanted that life. I wanted to travel, to see the world, to live among artists and creative people. And I remember just that feeling of like, I want this for myself. But like I said, I'm scared. I was too afraid to actually do it, so I didn't. But it's interesting because for this project, I rewatched it again and I saw things so differently as an adult, but I still felt that same feeling of wanting to experience that life. And I think that's the difference for me as an adult, is I want to experience that life, but I don't want that to be my life. Because one of the most important parts of the film is when he starts to realize, like, it's not all fun and games. Like, there's a lot of people, like the main character Penny Lane, the secondary character, sorry, Penny Lane, how she's basically running away from her life, and that you can't do that forever. So it's important to have that balance between, doing something like going on tour with a band, or, something creative and being around people like that in that space, but knowing that that can't always be the way that you live your life, of course, unless you're rich enough to do it. But that there's always a responsibility, that there's always things you have to pay for, things you have to be responsible for, and that you can't blind yourself to that just because it's hard, because it is hard. But I really enjoyed watching it again because I was able to see things in a different light, and I was able to see how Frances McDormand characters, the mom, his mom, how she suffered. She let her kid do this thing that I'm sure was terrifying. I could only imagine as a parent myself how scary it would be to let your kid travel with a band. but she did it, and it was so difficult for her, but she felt like it was the best thing for her kids. So I was able to see it's one thing I've always found interesting about being an adult is how you are able to see what the parents go through and what that feels like that you can't see when you're a kid because you don't know. But then if and when you become a parent yourself, it makes so much more sense, like why they are the way that they are and why they're acting the way that they're acting. But I really enjoyed, I still love the movie, and I think that's one thing that's fantastic, that even though it's like 21 years old, um, it's still very good. It still holds up, and it still has a lot of important lessons that anyone of any age needs to hear. Whether or not you're in your late 40s and you're still trying to escape responsibility, or you're a teenager and you're just starting out. Um, like, it's fun to have fun, but at the end of the day, we all have to come home and deal with reality. And I love it from that angle. I love it from the perspective of the artists trying to be artists, musicians, but also promoting their work and, dancing the line between sell out and making it big, and how at some point you kind of have to sell out a little bit if you want to make it big. Um, I thought that's another interesting aspect of the film that was really interesting to see, especially as an adult, and knowing how hard stardom can be to gain, especially before the internet. Like, you had to travel and have a promoter, that sort of thing. But I think overall my favorite theme that ran through the entire movie, that I loved as a kid and I still love now, is how important music is and how much it means to so many people. And um, just that the one line, actually, forgive me. Oh no, I have my phone. I'm using my phone to make the video. I made notes on my phone, but now I can't access them. But the one line that I always never know how to say her name. This person, if you know how to say her name, please let me know. But anyway, that she says, like, loving something so much that it hurts. Like, that's the kind of love that I have for music. And that is the heart of it for me, is wanting to be involved with something that I love that much, and to be close to something that I love that much. That to me is why I wanted to be, a music journalist, or, movie journalist, whatever. Like, being close to something, like right there in front of it, and not just appreciating it from afar. Wanting to have that experience. That never changed from when I would watch it as a kid to, now that I'm a full grown adult, is wanting to have that experience of being so close to something that you love so much, and how important that is to have that kind of interaction. Um, so yeah, I was really happy to have Xena Lily ask me to be a part of this, and I was really happy to watch the movie again, because it was really cool. I haven't watched it in quite a few years, but it was really cool how it still held up, and how I maybe love it more now as an adult than I did as a kid, because I can see it more clearly than I did when I was just a kid who had big dreams but also big fears. So yeah, definitely go check out her channel and the rest of this particularly awesome series, and we'll see what happens next. All right, bye guys.